My sister betrayed me for money and called it love. When I think about my childhood, the first face that always comes to mind is hers, my sister. She was my other half, my shadow. We shared food when there wasn't enough, whispered secrets in the dark, and dreamed of a future where we would always stand side by side. If the world felt against me, I believed she would be the one person who never would be. That trust was unshakable. Or so I thought. It began with little things. She would ask me for money I didn't have, making promises that she'd pay me back. I'd cover for her when she came home late, or when she failed to do her chores. I thought that was what sisters did, protect each other, no matter what. Even when I felt uneasy, I told myself, she loves me. She'd never truly hurt me. But slowly, her choices began to change. She surrounded herself with people I didn't trust. Men who smiled too sharply. Friends who whispered and glanced at me as though I was prey. Whenever I asked her why, she brushed me off, saying, "You're too innocent to understand. One day you'll thank me." Her words confused me. Thank her for what? And then came the night that shattered everything I believed. I discovered the truth in fragments. A conversation I wasn't meant to overhear. Money changing hands behind closed doors. And then, the final betrayal, realizing that she had sold my trust, my dignity, for nothing more than a handful of cash. When I confronted her, shaking, my voice barely steady, I expected guilt. I expected tears. I expected her to collapse in regret. But instead, she smiled. "You don't understand," she said softly, as if she were doing me a favor. "This is love. I'm helping you. You'll thank me one day." My world tilted in that moment. I looked into her eyes and saw no sister, no protector, only someone who had weighed me on a scale and decided money was heavier than my soul. The pain was unbearable. I cried until I couldn't breathe, asking her how, asking her why. But every answer only deepened the wound. She twisted the betrayal, dressed it in the disguise of care, and called it love. Days turned into weeks. I carried the shame quietly, blaming myself. Maybe I was too weak. Maybe she was right. Maybe love really was sacrifice, even when it tore me apart. The poison of those thoughts nearly consumed me. But somewhere in the silence, I heard a different voice. Not hers. Mine. A small whisper at first, then louder, "This is not love. This is not family. This is not you." I began to write. Each word was a piece of truth I refused to bury. I poured my tears onto paper until the shame turned into clarity. And in that clarity, I realized something life-changing: her betrayal did not define me. The day I walked away from her was the hardest of my life. She screamed that I was ungrateful, that I was destroying our bond. But what bond? Sisterhood without trust is a chain, not a gift. And I refuse to be chained any longer. Years have passed since then. I carry the scars of her betrayal, yes, but I also carry strength she could never take from me. I learned to build my life without her, to surround myself with people who lift me instead of breaking me, to redefine love as something that protects, not destroys. Now, when I tell my story, I do not tell it with shame. I tell it with power. Because there are others who need to hear it, others who believe betrayal dressed as love is their fault. It is not. Betrayal often comes from those we least expect. Love never destroys, it protects, it honors, it heals. Money can buy lies, but it cannot buy trust. Walking away from toxic family isn't selfish, it's survival. True strength is finding your worth when others try to sell it. Subscribe for more videos. See you in the next